Welcome to this episode of reviewing movies and shows together because I didn't feel like writing a complete script for each, or RISE for short, the most awesome acronym. And I'm your host, Eva. Hi girl. Look, I just finished The Descent, one of the few horror movies that I've ever watched, and it was horrifying, fun, and dramatic. There's also Love Beyond Dreams. This one is for my GL girlies, and the show surprised me. It made me laugh, and also it turned me into a big fan of these two ladies. This RISE is going to be less contrived, more free, not as rigid. And that is word salad for the script is non-existent. I didn't write a script for this one. I just wrote the intro and that's it. I remember that when I was doing my research, I saw a comment on Reddit, and that person mentioned how the first half of the movie is very, very good, but then in the second half of it, they completely dropped the ball, and I agree with them. Because in the beginning, you have this tension going on. Right? You have in one side this lady that just lost her entire family and she's trying to deal with the whole thing. She's taking medication, she's having nightmares and hallucinating, and she's not having a good time. In the other side, you have her friend who was in an affair with her late husband, and it is established from the start that they are going to have some type of confrontation because of that. You have the other friend with a gorgeous bob that is caught in the middle, and she knows the truth, but she doesn't know how to handle this really tough spot that she's been put in. You also have an expedition. These ladies go to a cave they believe no one has ever explored before, but actually other people were there. They just never made it out. And in this place, you are in this really interesting atmosphere because everything is dark, everything is extremely uncomfortable. You don't know what is going to happen. I remember that there was this scene when they were going to the cave, and one of the friends, she's listing all of the things that can happen to you once you are down there. And the foreshadowing is insane because every single one of those things, they go through them, they experience them when they're down there. So these women are trapped underground and they're trying to hold it together the best way possible. But then there are some bold, blind monsters that are going after them. They're being hunted. And when you combine all of those elements together, plus the acting, you get a really good result. However, once the monsters show up after the initial fight, that one that scared me a lot, it's a completely different film. It becomes an action type of surviving movie. And I don't have issues with that. It's just it loses the horror aspect. It's not scary. The tension gets dissolved. And when you are making a movie like this ones, you want to keep that sense of everyone being tense. And even when I was watching the movie, I said it. I was like, oh, I'm so tense because I was like this. For a big chunk of the reaction, if you see my body language, I'm like this because it was very, very uncomfortable. You get immersed into this world of uncertainty and everyone is going to die, ho. That's what you think. So the monsters show up, right? We don't have a name for them, so let's call them the Master's Cousins. That's long, but yeah, let's go with that. The Master's Cousins. So they attack and they take Holly's life. And in that moment is when you can see the switch from a really good horror movie that had me extremely stressed out to
the first one.
In all cases, people receiving
iterations. You have these people just fighting the Master's Cousins. That's what's going on. And mind you, I did have a really good time while watching the flick. I was scared up to a point. And I think the reason why I was able to enjoy the whole thing so much is mostly because of my personality, and you were able to see a little bit of it when I was talking, but there was a lot more going on in my brain. So for that reason, I think the entirety of The Descent is really good. But if someone else watches the movie and they don't have the same way of seeing stuff like I do, I think they're just going to like the first half. In my reaction video, I mentioned that I didn't become a fan, although you can clearly see that I'm constantly laughing and making jokes. Still, I'm not a big fan of the genre because it was missing that. If the writers found a way of maintaining that same level of tension and like that feeling of uncertainty, you being extremely vigilant, and at the same time you wanted to look away because you don't know what is going to pop up next, I think I'd definitely be a fan right now. But that didn't happen. How the jump scares were managed was, I don't know if this is the right word, but it was peculiar. They were managed in a way that you sometimes knew something was going to happen. Like when Sarah was standing in front of the window, but that one got me. I flinched. I was like, oh girl. But sometimes, in other occasions, the jump scares did not get me at all. And I don't think it was just because I became more brave. I don't believe that was the case. I still get frightened very easily. It was more how they were set up. Overall, The Descent is a decent movie with some good elements integrated into it and some other elements that after a while, they completely fall flat. I really like this show, okay? I think it's one of the best GLs out there. And let me tell you what it's about. Let me tell you the pilot. We have these two characters, Lan and Lene. The first one has this naive, young, doesn't understand the world that well type of personality going on. And the latter is more of a older, in control. She knows what is going on. They meet in university, not in high school, finally, because I was sick and tired of those. And they quickly connect with each other. They're comfortable when they're close to one another. And everyone and their mothers know that they like, they wanna be together, but nothing happens for years. They're just friends. They're hanging around. They're making plans for the future, but nothing official, just friends. One night, Lan is crying her eyes out because she's by herself, she's alone. Her parents passed away, and we've been so desensitized in regards to that because in every single movie and show, they don't have parents. The dad and the mom are gone. Like, let's switch it up, please. It's either that or the dead wife. The montage of the wife on bed or running in a beach. So she's sad, not just because of her parents, but also her grandmother, because she's not there either. And when it comes to grandmas, to kunyas, to yais, I'm sorry, I just cannot do it. I still not over what happened in us. That's sad. You see, that's sad. The parents and the wife, no one cares. But the grandma, so Lena sees her because all of this is happening at uni. They talk, she offers her shoulder to cry, and she pretty much says, I gotcha. Moments like this shape this non-relationship. And one day after Lan's graduation, she gets all of her courage and finally decides to tell Lena how she feels. They share a kiss, and at that point, anyone could think they're gonna start dating now, finally. But no, Lena was not happy about it. She told the other one, get the away from me, and walked away. Lan was destroyed. She was crying her eyes out because the only person that she had left her. She receives this scholarship to go and study abroad, and because of everything that happened, she takes it and she goes away for a couple of years. We get a time jump and we can see how Lan is still affected by what happened in the past. She receives this little gift from Lena based on what is written on the card. She deduces like, oh, that's from her. And she decides to go back to Thailand. right? She goes back to her country. The problem is that when she arrives there, she finds out that her non-girlfriend was killed. She gets shot in the head. So shady stuff is going on. Also, Eth is in this. His name is Pim, but I call him Eth because of Play Park. You know, that jail that I really, really liked. That was very, very good and that I highly recommend.
Lies, lies, and more lies.
Lan is devastated. Not only did she lose the opportunity of being in a relationship with the person that she loved the most, but also homegirl gets killed. So you can just imagine how bad she was feeling. When she's at the wake or the memorial, I don't know how they call that in Thailand, she's looking around because it's been a couple of years. She doesn't know these people. She sees Lena's father sitting somewhere. She sees a dude that I call him the idol. I don't remember his name, but he looks like an idol. The hair, the suit, everything. She sees Eve talking with some people. And for a couple of days, she keeps going back to the wake. And you can see how miserable and broken she is. One night, while she was walking, looking extremely depressed, she overhears a conversation between Eve and another dude. And it seems like it wasn't an accident, as people were saying, right? It looks like her death was something planned. With this information, she thinks, oh, that means I can uncover this whole thing and at least get some justice. But she gets caught. There's this dude with a knife to her throat, and he's like, did you hear anything? And she says no, but he doesn't believe her, and you know, crack. So while Lan is laying on the floor, just losing her life force, she starts getting these images of the people that she has lost, like her Jai. That was so sad. I don't want to think about it. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was just like the universe, the destiny, if she had the powers to do so, but she time traveled. She goes back to when her scholarship was offered to her right after Lena rejected her. And she's given a little red thread that symbolizes the other timeline. So my girl gets a new opportunity to do stuff right, I guess, and avoid the death of the love of her life. Later, we discover that the scholarship Lan got to study abroad was actually founded by Lena, because I forgot to mention, this is kind of important. She's rich, she's loaded, okay? She has her coin. And that makes you think, why would she do that? Because those two were obviously in love with each other, but Lena was like, get out of my face, out of my face. So of course, you question her actions as if she's trying to send her away. She's trying to protect her from something, right? I really like this show. It was really, really good. I want to keep going, but most likely I'm going to do a crazy plot about it, so I'm gonna leave it there. Besides the story, I really like the performances, the acting. I believe Aya and Miefa did an amazing job with the script. They were able to bring those characters to life, and it definitely adds to the really good plot that they have going on. Another thing I want to mention is the fashion, all right? I'm a sucker for corporate attire, and they do not disappoint. It's really good. It's like top tier. I was gagging, especially with Lan's wardrobe. Ooh, I'm telling you, the gays in charge of her they did what they were supposed to do. It was really good. And that's it. I think I'm going to leave everything else to the crazy plot, but I have to make one about poisonous love first. It's been months and I always keep forgetting. I have to make that one first and then LBD. Yeah, that's probably how it's going to go. Thank you for watching Rise number 5. I really appreciate the fact that you just did. Please feel free to like and subscribe. That helps a lot. I've been having a lot of fun making content. That's why I'm a little bit more consistent, but not really. So be prepared because you're gonna get more stuff, like a lot of stuff. I have so many things planned. I just have to do them and finish them. Anyways, see you on the next one. Bye-bye.